that pineapple cider is fucking business. So if you've not had any yet, I suggest you go out, have a chat to Rory, and get a pint. It's pretty good. Sammy was kind of pointing out why I come to Peterborough, so I'm going to start with one about Peterborough, and my friend Scott is also from Peterborough, so he can probably confirm or deny most of it. I'll tell you once, and I'll tell you thorough. You don't want to go to Peterborough. I'm going back myself. I noticed it was shit. The council dug the car park, but not the rest of it. They've got a fountain in town square, but keep having to dig it up for regular repair. Part of the city was built on a bog. What were they thinking? Preliminary reports say the bastard's now sinking. We used to have a post office, but it ain't there no more. Instead, we've got an IKEA distribution centre, but no fucking store. During the summer, it gets positively balmy. Last July, we almost elected the Brexit fucking party. They say you should treat them mean to keep them king. You do that round here, mate, they'll throw you in the knee. We've got a cathedral though, that's pretty alright. You should have seen it when it was on fire though, that was quite a sight. It's not hard to get there when you take the train, but whenever you pull into the station, you think, what the fuck am I here again?
Sometimes I used to do long cycle rides. I cycled all the way to London, and I went through Stamford, and then what you do then is you go through this park that sort of circumnavigates Peterborough, but it's a park in Peterborough.
They call it the Fens, it's quite a big
lovely park, yeah. So yeah, that was good.
This one's slightly different, but I like doing this one because it's in memory of someone who I was a massive fan of. She should have been a pirate, all Demerara, rum, red Marlboros and casual violence. She was the fiercest woman I have ever known. Dragged up in deepest, darkest Dundee, her accent was thick enough to scare a true blue Tory at 10 paces, and on that note, she would not suffer fools, no dispute, would discard them readily from the stacked deck of her life. Her threats were the stuff of family legend. She once stated that if I ever swore in front of her, she would kill me by knocking my head off with my own fucking head. A pious woman. She loved her God like most folks love Attenborough, but I always suspected that God answered her prayers out of fear. She was the roughest fuck neighbour that would kick his door in, and he knew it, so you would have thought he would have kept her sweet. She had all the tact of a landmine when it came to bad news, slipping it elegantly into conversation. Alex, did you see the footy last night? I did. Mince it, diving bastards. By the way, I have cancer. It's in my lungs this time, it's just a matter of time. Fucking referee, true story. God had dropped the ball on this one and he could not plead with her and she was coming for him. Her rage and his fear kept her alive for 2 years and she shuffled that joker out of her hand and instead kept faith with me. From the galleon of her hospital bed, we laid siege to wards, smuggled contraband and launched broadsides at unsuspecting doctors. We rallied oncology into a ragtag group of miscreants who were all dying for that drink and a cigarette. And in those damn chemo white walls, I could not bring myself to believe in God. But I could fool myself into thinking that it was all going to be okay. And eventually, her lauded death threats became life threats, not buried in conversation waiting to blow up at family reunions, but clutched into hands, eyes to eyes, lips to ear. You better live, she said, and live well, because if you don't, remember, I will be waiting for you.
Yeah!
A little bit of stories as well. There's a thing called an anti-slam, which is unique to poetry. It's basically you have to turn up and write the worst poem you can. The word form, like some of them are awful. And you can come dressed up, you have entry music and everything. It's like wrestling combined with poetry, it's amazing. So when I first performed this, I was dressed as the Blue Ranger, in proper blue spandex helmet and everything. And I had the Power Rangers theme tune as my goal. But the thing is, I actually quite like this poem, and I've reworked it a couple of times, and now it's in my regular rotation. And now I'm going to throw it a new line. Power Rangers was a classic. It had ninjas and high kicks, monsters and sidekicks. It was the shit. Even when I was 6, I knew it was too good for Fox Kids. They were entertainers, kung fu fakers, those primary coloured gladiators. Their popularity was contagious. Saturday morning TV, a no-brainer. Go, go, Power Rangers. I wanted that stardom. To be Angel Grove's Warden of Awesome, I dreamed of action figures, plastic swords, and corporate whoredom. Fuck Dumbledore, I wanted Zordon. I was, in fact, morphing time, this Blue Ranger angst of mine. It would not stop, not until I could drive a robot Triceratops. This was no fad. So I told my dad of my mad desires and the dreams I had. He said, son, this obsession is getting stranger. You shame us, you will never be famous. To me, you are the latest, most heinous failure. You will never be a Power Ranger. So I bit my lip, clenched my fist, hissed, what a tit, what did he know about any of this? So I built Alpha 5 out of plasterboard at the loop of his voice on tape record. I hoarded cardboard, built myself a Megazord. It reached to the 2nd floor, the street had never seen its like before. I was in spandex from head to toe, started learning Kung Fu and Taekwondo, got the theme tune played on the radio and even had a guest shot, guess what, on the one show. It was then my father marched on set without a word. Dressed like one of the Thunderbirds, he said, son, I'm just like you, except I dream of joining International Rescue. No, I never made it to Tracy Island, but what you've been saying has been proper inspiring. So follow your dreams and you will defeat Rita as one of the elite beat and ensure your spandex is on fleek, FAB. Sick bars on that. And for all those out there with passions like mine, you go out there and do that thing full time, which sets me up nicely for an ending rhyme. That's right. It's fucking war. This will be my last one for the evening, and I always like to do this one because I wrote this before all the dates that are mentioned in this, and I shall warn you there are a lot of 80s sci-fi references in this, so for the people who appreciate the finer things in the audience, you may enjoy this one. But the thing is, I keep having to rewrite it because more and more time keeps passing after the thing. So I'll let it speak for itself. The future is a foreign country, and mate, they do things differently there. What I hoped it could be was shaped by films I was far too young for, and those ideals invaded one day at a time, which frankly isn't good enough. Those films filled me with dreams of a blocky 80s bleakness, tempered by moments of sheer badassery, and the last of the action heroes. Science is blasé in its accomplishments and aliens are commonplace. With this in mind, it's 2021. Where the fuck is my jetpack? For Christ's sake, 2017 was the year Running Man is set in. Now the tyrannical media empire is coming along nicely and the socio-environmental collapse is basically there. But where's the gladiatorial combat with jetpacks? Blade Runner was 2 years ago. Where are my psychotic military androids? Where are the gaudy blimps promising a better life off-world as they float serenely over a rain-slick, jazz-drenched cyberpunk sex dream? Wham! The future is bearing down on us, and it is one ugly motherfucker. The best I can hope for is to grip tightly to all my vanities and dreams while screaming, Emil, do it now, come here, kill me, yeah, do it now! But no. That's not what Arnie would have wanted, you see, I had a plan. You see, the last Starfighter, the Navigator, Back to the Future and Tron have shown me that time machines and life-affirming adventures are just a chance encounter away. And when that finally happens to me, this reality is fucked. I'll be going back to the future with my fluffy stop-motion sidekick and quirky popular girl love interest. To find out how long it takes for us to evolve into a blasted apocalyptic Mad Max hellscape. Come back and make it happen. The 80s knew how to apocalypse the shit out of stuff. And then everyone will be stuck in a perpetual time loop where myself, Jeremy Irons, Michael Ironside, Schwarzenegger Stallone, Danny Glover and Sigourney Weaver rule the world from that corporate megastructure. Our dictatorship will be enforced by Cronenberg body horror monstrosities equipped with laser-mounted jetpacks. But sadly, this, like Ridley Scott ever making anything half as good as Alien again, is so the older I get, the more I have to accept the opportunities to get warped into computers, kidnapped by spaceships and given a lift by the DeLorean, to save the world from aliens, robots, and morally questionable capitalist ideals, get fewer and farther between. But it could still happen. So until then, I can get to the future one day at a time, and I should make it quite far. Who knows? I might even get my ass to Mars.